Broadcasting from the Business RadioX studios, it's time for Business Leaders Radio. Now, here's your host, John Ray.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Business Leaders Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, I've been looking forward to this one. We have Ofer Yourvexel with us. He's the CEO and co-founder of Pepperi. Ofer, welcome.
Thank you for hosting me. Great pleasure and honor to be here on this show.
Well, I'm delighted to have you. Let's set it up for everyone and introduce you and Pepperi. How are you serving folks out there?
I myself, I'm one of the four founders of the company, established the company like 12 years ago. Today, we are operating in 70 countries around the world. Obviously, US is by far the largest one for us. We have almost 1,000 customers worldwide, 4 offices in Israel, in New York, in Ukraine, in Kiev, and in Melbourne, in Australia. And we are serving mainly companies. The type we are business to business, so our customers are manufacturers and distributors of physical good product, typically consumer good products such as food, beverages, physical product, obviously. Amongst our customer, you can find companies like Dermalogica from the US, Kimberly-Clark, Allmark, Davidoff, many large customers, as well as some mid-sized customer. Well, that's about it, unless you have more specific questions.
Well, you're dealing. Look at these small, out-of-the-way companies you're dealing with. Wow.
I forgot to mention what we are giving them, what we are selling them.
Yeah.
Which is a sales platform, a SaaS-based sales platform, helping them sales throughout the different channels that companies are selling today. It's not like in the past that you were selling only through one single channel. So we are helping them selling throughout all the different channels that they might have, for as long as it's business to business. That's it.
Well, you mentioned some major companies there, seriously, and it's interesting that these companies did not already have this solution. Address that, please.
Typically, they all have different solutions. What makes Pepperi stand out is really the fact that it's all provided. All these different solutions, all these different sales channels are provided from a single business logic, from a single software SaaS-based, as opposed to integrating different solutions. And this provides a lot of benefits. A great example for that is, for example, trade promotion. Trade promotion is what in our industry people are using in terms of phrasing for upsell, cross-sell. If you need to provide to your customer trade promotions from different channels, for example, a sales rep on the road, a business-to-business e-commerce site, a DSD from a driver, and to keep consistency in both in the experience as well as in the data between those different solutions and make sure that they really provide the same benefits to the customers is quite complex. We do that very simple because it's all coming from one product, from one database, from one business logic. So this is what set us apart from the competitor, and this is the reason that companies that might have all these different solutions that we are providing will switch to our solution.
So, Ofer, did you and your co-founders, did all of you come from the CPG industry?
None of us came from the CPG industry. It's all by coincidence, if I may call it this way. I was approached like 12 years ago by 2 investors that were called me because people they knew that recommended, and they had an idea which was totally different than what we are doing today around CPG, actually around watches, to be more precise, selling watches. And this is how everything started. So we started with the idea they had 12 years ago, but like 3-4 years into this business, we decided to switch to what we are doing today. And we learned. However, all of us had a lot of experience in dealing with software and dealing with international sales of software. So this is the background we came with.
Wow. Well, it's amazing that these really big companies cannot solve this problem themselves, that you're able to solve with no industry experience, basically.
I think companies today are not trying, especially the large one, it might surprise you, will not try to solve problems that are not their business. Software is not their business. Mm-hmm. They will not, in the past, they would try to build their own solutions. Nowadays, companies realize that buying off-the-shelf product, software product, incorporate a lot of know-how into it, know-how that was gathered from, in our case, from thousands of customers. Bear in mind, we had a lot of experience in those 12 years. We don't have the time to share with you, but for example, we fired many customers because they were too small for us in the past. Decided to focus on mid-market and large customers. So they get it out of the box, and then they get a lot of know-how that is constantly, especially with SaaS, that is easily upgraded. They get a lot of know-how that is constantly being upgraded with new innovations, as opposed to develop their own things, maintaining their own thing, and then innovating all the time only by themselves. So I think it's quite common today. The question that is more relevant for me, how we compete against some of those giants because they're on the same space, like Salesforce, Oracle, SAP, because we are selling is really the core business is sales platform. And the answers for that is really our focus on relatively narrow compared to what they're offering, narrow market, and providing everything really from one business logic. And our mobility, which is a very crucial part of our technology, is a very crucial part for our customer as well. And this is where they fall apart. The ability to provide native mobile apps from the same business logic with browser-based solution is something that we are shining with, as opposed to our typical competitors. But this is a bit too technical, maybe.
No, that makes sense because you're serving a industry that is highly mobile in terms of delivery and that kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of logistic, a lot of drivers, salespeople on the road. Mm-hmm. You're totally right.
Yeah. Ofer Yourvexel is with us, folks. He is co-founder, CEO of Pepperi. So, why is it that these B2B brands and wholesalers need your solution, Ofer, if they can sell direct to consumer or on marketplaces for that matter?
This is a question not related just to me specifically. It's related to why would they continue to sell B2B? And then obviously the answer should be, why would they sell B2B? So first of all, the majority of the world today is B2B, way bigger, although it might surprise you in terms of potential than B2C. And they are already selling B2B. So for them to go to, I'm talking the big majority of them, to switch to direct to consumer is a risky move, proven to be very difficult and in many cases not profitable as expected. There are many failures in the industry that of companies that try that. But I would not say do not do it. I would just say definitely do not want to leave behind your current business. And again, I'm talking about the majority of the market. It's just another channel D2C. And what most companies that were trying to do D2C learn is that D2C is a great way to collect direct information about your customer, your consumer, your end customer, and improve your product. But it's not a way for B2B typical companies to do business. So to answer the long, I hope I was not too lengthy with my answer. I would say, in short way, our customer typically will not leave the B2B, although they might play with D2C, but it will not become their main line of business.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I know each of your customers is different. So factoring that in though, I mean, how do you measure success for a customer, and what does that look like? I mean,
yeah, great question. The obvious thing is, you're selling a sales platform and you want your customer to sell more as a result, which is proven to be true. We have several customers that admitting, and we have case studies like that on our website, that we help them grow their sales. But in most cases, companies will say, no, it relates to what competition was doing. It is not directly related to technology. So if you're asking me what would be the type of things that I can really prove that it's thanks to our technology, one great thing that we are hearing from all our customers is that suddenly there is quiet in their support channel. And reason being is once everything is transferred in terms of data and knowledge to the endpoints, to the user that are using the system, whether they are the customer of our customers or the seller of our customer, the salespeople in the field, the logistic people, then there's no need for them to call, to ask questions, to say there is a mistake, because it's automated. So mistakes, errors are reduced dramatically to something which is really very, very close to zero. So suddenly there is much less noise in the support channel. And typically the support channel is turning into more of a sales channel than a support channel, because then you can use your support people to do upsells to make sure that your customers are happy. So this is something that is really proven. We hear it from all our customers because everything is automated, everything is synchronized between the different channels. The third thing, other than increasing sales and helping them to see to use the support for proactive selling as opposed to reactive support, is everything is moving much faster. We have customers that used to, the most extreme case is a huge customer in Germany, wine distributor worldwide, that used to distribute in 14 days. And with us, reduced it internationally to 2 days and within Germany to 1 day. And this is quite dramatic in terms of cash flow, in terms of customer experience. So these are the three main things I would say.
I had to smile when you were talking about producing quiet. It's like silence is golden, right? I mean,
it's a great song.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I can see how your clients may argue with you about who gets the credit, but you can't argue with the fact that if support doesn't have to take up time away from salespeople, that it always helps. You can't argue with that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And think about also the frustration of customers and salespeople that they are inquiring about basic information that there's no need to inquire anymore. It's in the palm of their hand. And we bring it, typically the relevant information in the right moment when they need it, because we know what type of information they need in a certain moment, in a certain process. So everything is automated for them.
And since you're dealing with medium to large size companies whose product lines are, they're struggling on just, single digit kind of unit sales, right? I mean, so every little bit helps a company like that, right?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's you're bringing a very important point. These customers are sometimes selling to different channels, and it might be that the channel that is generating 80% of their transaction is only providing them with 20% of their net revenue. And those small customers that have much larger margins are really the one that are not doing the transactions, but they're giving them the net revenues. So they might be extremely important, although they are small. In accumulation, if you take them together.
Yeah.
I took an extreme example, but in most cases, it's true that the largest channels are their gross margin are by far smaller.
Ofer Yourvexel is with us, folks, with Pepperi. He's the CEO and co-founder at Pepperi. I love it. I mean, obviously you don't have to share names, but if you could just share a success story, maybe a successful implementation you're particularly proud of, that would be great.
A great example is actually a name I already dropped. It's Dermalogica from California. I hope you're familiar with them. They are a Unilever company, and they are, I think, they're the number one leader in face care, in skincare, in beauty cosmetics. We started a relationship with them around 5-6 years ago. And there is actually a published case study. The reason I'm proud of what we did there is because of the gradual implementation, adding more and more value to their business. And they are extremely successful, especially nowadays. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I was eating lunch with a few of their folks there in California. And they are extremely successful. What we did for them, we started just with replacing a system they had for 100 sales rep across the U.S., selling to people who sell Dermalogica products, typically professional sales, meaning beauty professionals, which was just an implementation for a mobile solution. But then we then replaced their entire process of another system, which is a very well-known system that we replaced for dealing with lead to account process between accounting and sales, taking a lead all the way up to turning it into a customer, and then obviously registering the customer in their ERP system, in their main system. And then immediately after implementing the first B2B solution, B2B e-commerce solution for all their retailer in the US, like 5,000, for them to take order themselves, including those beauty professional before that they can take order themselves. And then adding more by taking all their international distributors to order from Pepperi, again, through B2B e-commerce, and then their internal employees who have special monthly account that they can order for free up to a certain amount. And all that is combined with very, very sophisticated trade promotions that they have, very sophisticated, that are taking into account how much they bought from certain segment, and while they take an order, what is within this order in order to give them additional discounts, things that you don't find in B2C, only in B2B. And then started to expand with them internationally to additional countries. So this is a great story for me because obviously a customer that is going through such a journey with us must be pleased. And obviously it's a very successful customer. So I'm happy to help them in their success.
Your platform must be awfully flexible. Is that the word? To be able to go through all those different scenarios and different problems.
You actually touched on the second point that I'm always proud of. The number one is what I mentioned before, the ability to combine everything in one business logic, all those different solutions. The number two, I'm always arguing that we are the most flexible. How do you measure flexible in software? You measure flexible in software with the ability to make changes to the look and feel, to make changes to the processes without the need to use programmers, that you just need a system admin, drag and dropping objects, drag and dropping processes without code, without compilation. So you don't need to go through a tedious development process. And it works. And then you press publish and the end user is getting it. Whether it's a web browser, which is quite simple, but the end user is also getting it on a native online, offline apps. And I claim that we are the most flexible solution in that respect. Sorry for the noise. So you touched on the right point. Yes, we are. I claim that we are the most flexible in our vertical, in our industry for what we do.
That's terrific. Now, I have to ask, given the uniqueness of a lot of these brands and the companies that own them, have you had any crazy requirements that you've implemented that you didn't, curveballs that got thrown your way that you weren't expecting, that you were asked to implement?
Yep. This is typically it relates to scalability, this type of things. Crazy requirements, I would say we have customers that requested hundreds of promotions that is managing and changing on a monthly basis. And this, we haven't seen anything close to it, but this was relatively easily addressed, where we see the challenges with scalability. And we have customers, for example, in Indonesia with over 100,000 customers. And this is not typical in business to business. Think about it, 100,000 customers, but Indonesia is the fourth largest country in the world population-wise. Another great example is in business to business. We have a customer in Texas in automotive with over 1 million SKUs, meaning products. Again, not typical in most industries, I would say, especially not in CPG, in consumer goods. And this is a challenge because, again, in business to business as opposed to B2C, everything is multiplied. If you take 1,000 customers with 1,000 price lists, which you don't find in B2C, you only have one price list, but 1,000 customers with 1,000 price lists, with 1,000 product, you already have 1 billion, lines that you need to manage. 1,000 by 1,000 by 1,000. You get 1 billion. And this is the complexity. This is very complex to manage in that respect, especially when you need to manage it sometimes on small devices in offline. So these are the type of challenges that we ran into. I mentioned a customer in Indonesia, Diamond. I think this is a great example. Yeah.
It strikes me that you've got customers that are pretty sticky. I mean, if you're able to solve some of the complex problems that they have with their sales channels in the way you describe, you've got customers for a long time. Yep.
The large one are very sticky one. Yeah. Because their problem is much bigger.
For sure. So, as we wrap up here, Ofer, and this has been great, and congratulations on the great work you're doing. What's ahead? I mean, what do you see ahead over the next few years for Pepperi?
In general, I cannot. We are doing here and there a small improvement to our customers. There's always room for improvement, but I cannot share the larger picture, which we are working on. All I can say is that we are taking our flexibility one level more in terms of infrastructure. Again, I'm not talking feature-wise, and intend to release toward the end of this year a new flexibility capabilities. It's just infrastructure. It will take us every quarter. We will be using them immediately after to improve further the flexibility that we are providing to our customers.
Okay, well, folks, better stay tuned. Some great things ahead for Pepperi. Ofer Yourvexel, this has been great. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Really enjoyed your questions. Thank you very much for hosting me again. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. And before I let you go, though, I need to make sure we get contact information out there. Yeah, how can folks that want to know more, how can they connect with you?
Very easy. It's Pepperi.com, and you'll find all the information there. Pepperi is like pepper with I at the end. Pepperi.com. Pepperi.
Ofer Yourvexel, folks. Ofer, thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Take care. And folks, that's it for Business Leaders Radio. Join us next time, businessleadersradio.com for more information. I'm host John Ray. Thanks again.